What's exciting to me, I kind of I want to have this vision where I can actually assist every single, animal sanctuary that maybe in Australia, maybe in the world, by providing that, a service, a product, the websites to get more donations, to then help them. Those that Going back to the Elephant Aid International. So Carol Buckley knows everything about elephants. She's dedicated her life to it. But she knows nothing, with all respect to nothing about building websites. But if I can help these organizations help them help animals, then I think, that's the most exciting part for me, is to use technology to raise more money to help more animals.
Welcome to the Better Life for Animals podcast, where we amplify the voices of animal advocates, sanctuaries, and changemakers working toward a kinder, more compassionate world. Through powerful stories and expert insights, we shine a light on the efforts to rescue, protect, and advocate for animals. Be sure to subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. Every follower helps us reach more people. And support animal sanctuaries. Enjoy the conversation.
Dave Graham is a web designer with a passion for helping animal sanctuaries and rescues thrive online. What began in 2012 as a happy accident, building websites with his wife Sean for animal-related organizations, has grown into a 14-year global career. Dave has built numerous websites for vegan dentists, lawyers, accommodation providers, e-commerce businesses, and numerous nonprofits. In 2001, he discovered his true mission: creating donation-driven websites for animal sanctuaries. By combining technical expertise with purpose-driven design, Dave helps sanctuaries raise more donations, streamline their online presence, and ultimately rescue more animals. He's thrilled to be here on our show with Better Life for Animals, as we are thrilled to have him to share his website insights that will fuel real impact for sanctuaries and rescues. Thank you, Dave, for being on our show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So you've been designing websites since 2012, starting from what you call a happy accident. Can you share that story and how it evolved into a career supporting animal-related organizations?
Absolutely, Cheryl. So we were in a vegan B&B here in Australia. My background is in technology and websites and computers and stuff like that. And we were there. We had a first weekend away at this vegan B&B, and afterwards, the owner came back to us and said, "Hey, you're in the tech space, aren't you? Can you help build a website for us so that we can get, a little bit of marketing and bookings?" And I went, "Yeah, yeah, sure, I can do that." So we built that website. We got it hosted, published, and it was a huge success. And then, of course, other people started seeing that I'd just done this for that organization and said, "Oh, can you build me a website?" So that's when we got the vegan lawyers, who, not necessarily a vegan lawyer company, but the owners were vegan, and they wanted another vegan to be able to work with to build them a website. So we built them a lawyer website, and then there was a dentist, and it just grew and grew and grew from there. So it's been a complete happy accident. We didn't intend on it whatsoever. It was fun, and we enjoyed it.
At what point did you realize that sanctuaries were your true calling?
Great question. So when you're building websites and you're building them for lawyers and dentists and accommodation, you're actually you're spreading your marketing across many different types of organization, even though they're still vegan, right? It's an accommodation website. So how do people find you if you're building accommodation websites? How do people find you if you're building e-commerce, if you're vegan? So we found that we've been working with a number of nonprofits, small sanctuaries, some of the large sanctuaries. We work with Elephant Aid International. So, it's completely different to a farm sanctuary. And we found that we really liked and enjoyed working with these animal sanctuaries. It made our life easier because it didn't mean we were changing from an e-commerce site to an accommodation site. We were able to replicate what we could do to make it more affordable for these sanctuaries. And we found that there was a big proposition there for getting more donations, right? So we could help. I'm not, and I say this with Elephant Aid International. I would love to help Elephant Aid International. I would love to have elephants in my yard. It's just not large enough, right? So I can use my skills with my technology background, my web skills, and I can work with sanctuaries to enhance their websites or build their websites to get more donations and get those recurring donations that will actually help them when times are tough.
Many sanctuaries struggle with digital overwhelm. So, what are the most common website challenges that you see sanctuaries face, and how do you help them simplify things?
Another great question. So the biggest one, the biggest challenge that I'm seeing at the moment is the time poor, right? So
Mm.
there's all of these channels that they're trying to get themselves. They're trying to do Facebook posts. They're trying to do Instagram Reels. They're trying to do TikTok. Then they neglect their website because
Ah,
they're too busy posting things on social media. And if we think about where our website sits, it's in the sort of the heart of the universe where we want to be driving traffic from these social media angles back to the website, which is where the donation buttons are, right? Where our
right.
subscribes are, where our volunteer signups are. But we're too busy on social media. And another one, we want to do newsletters and we want to drive traffic back to the website. So time is a real big issue. Another thing that we're finding is that people don't necessarily get they don't understand. They think they understand, and marketing companies like GoDaddy will tell you you can build a website in a day, or you can get AI now to build you a website. And is that really the solution that they need? Probably not. So it's a lot of overwhelm, a lot of overwhelm. So we try and sort of position ourselves as the tech partner in the corner somewhere over here that you can always rely on. We work, we're in Australia. We cover both the east and the west coast of the US, which is where most of our clients are.
Mm.
And if you ask for something to be done on the website, some tweak or some updates or whatever, we can do that in your overnight time, and you wake up and it's all done. So it's yeah, there's a few challenges, but mainly that overwhelm of what to do. What's my process here to get traffic back to the website? And Facebook and Instagram get in the way all the time, and we don't own those platforms. We don't control what actual the logic, the algorithm on those platforms for your post to be landing on those people that follow you. They may land, they may see them, they may not. But having an email newsletter where you can actually send out communication containing the same information, it'll land in people's inbox that have subscribed to you. So we're a big fan of building those as well, the email lists.
So, those are some of the specific features. Are there other design principles that you use to make the biggest impact?
Sure, sure. One of the big things we see on a lot of sites, missing donation buttons. So we'll look at a site and we'll see a menu across the top, and we'll look, where's the donation button? Oh, hang on, it's on a sub menu, or it's not there at all, or it is there but it's not obvious. So one of the recommendations we make is make that donation button over on the right hand side of the menu, make it stand out, make the button pop with color. Make it obvious because it draws the attention of the visitor to there. And also, another option you can do is have a sticky header, which is what we call. So as you scroll down the website, the menu stays at the top. So it's always visible wherever you are on that website. So that's one of the key things. Subscribe to each page on a website should have a purpose. So if the visitor gets to the bottom of the website and they go, right, well, what do I do now? What's my next? What do I do? Do I go to another page? Give them the option, right? So give them links to go to. So if we're on our, say, animal database page where we're looking at a profile of one of the animals, then we list two or three other animals that they can click on to learn more about those animals, and it keeps that engagement on the website going.
Mm.
If a page doesn't have one of those options of where to go next, we'll put a subscribe to our newsletter, give them something, an action to complete on that page. That's another one, and also sponsorship, getting animal sponsorship. So on all of the profiles of animals that we have on our websites that we build, we have a donate button or a sponsor me, and it can be linked to a particular sponsor, a pig, or a sponsor, a hen, or it could be sponsor Jimmy. Depending on how the organization, whether it's a large organization, you don't want to be having, 200 different campaigns. You might have one for each species and call out some ambassador animals, but getting that sponsorship and having those key, again, they're donate buttons, they're sponsor buttons, have them prominent, have them easy to see, helps the visitor and helps those donations.
I like the idea of keeping someone engaged and drawing their attention in such a way that they want to go to the next page and to the next page. And as you said, storytelling is a good feature to do that. So how do you weave those emotional stories from one page to the next to keep them engaged?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those pages, for example, we have a profile of each of the animals. We have some interesting information. We've actually generated some fun facts as well. So each time a page if I refresh one of the animals, the fun facts will change. So it actually, oh, that's something new. That's something interesting. As they scroll down, they'll read through the bio of the animal, one of the residents, and then they'll see, meet my friends, and then there'll be another picture of three of the friends with a little intro, not too long, probably about 30 words or so, and then a nice call to action, learn more about Sally or learn more about Jim. And that keeps that engagement. It's similar to how the SEO works as well in terms of when when your pages turn up in the search results and you see them and it's got the page title and the description, always have a call to action on the end of those as well. So rather than the description being too long and it ends with dot, 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 you could say learn more, simple call to action, or help today or donate today. That can also build from that engagement from the search engines as well.
Can you speak to any particular fundraising strategies or campaigns that have been the most successful?
Each organization is different, right? So you've got Elephant Aid International where they've got Tara and Bo and Mundy. So they have their specific targeting of the sponsorship of those elephants. So there's only three, right? So it might be raising money for Bo's birthday, for buying food. Whereas other organizations, you've got lots and lots of different types of sponsorship animals. Might be, sponsoring a particular ambassador. If that's Cranky's Farm here in Australia, they're named after Cranky, which is a cow. So they have a sponsorship for that particular cow there. So it can be anything from, raising money for food, raising money for vet bills, raising money for emergency. We've got one for Zorro's at the moment. It's running to raise $5,000 for Daisy. And it's for medical assistance. So it all depends on what it is you're trying to do. And it's trying to mix that up as well throughout the calendar year. If you've got, emergencies, you want to pop those in, but have a plan of, what are we going to be raising money for throughout the year, and not to make it the same thing, asking the same thing all the time.
You're listening to Better Life for Animals podcast. Our mission is to amplify the voices of animal advocates, sanctuaries, and changemakers working toward a kinder, more compassionate world. But we can't do it alone. We need your help. First of all, go ahead and subscribe to this channel wherever you're watching or listening. And then get involved by visiting betterlifeforanimals.com. That's betterlifeforanimals.com. Be sure to check out our blog, learn more about incredible sanctuaries, and explore our book section, where 100% of net proceeds from book sales are donated to sanctuaries. Every action you take helps to make a difference. And remember, subscribe to this channel. And now, back to the show.
If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Dave Graham, and this is Better Life for Animals. One of the things I've heard a lot, Dave, is that there's a recurring donation feature which really helps sustain a lot of sanctuaries. I'm wondering, do you find that to be something that you also implement in your website strategy?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have a general donation campaign, which is where your donate button then links to your general donations. But we also put the recurring and sponsoring an animal. We did this for Cranky's Farm some years ago, and we used back then we used a very sort of, I call them now, long, boring donation forms where you fill in your first name, your last name, your address, your telephone number, and then you get to your credit card details, and I was like, oh, okay. So that was working back then when we first started. Since then, we've moved over to sort of more advanced donation engines. We currently recommend Fundraise Up, which is a great platform. It doesn't try to be the be all and end all of, it doesn't try to be a CRM. It doesn't try to be an emailing system. It just does donations well, and it integrates to each of those other things really, really seamlessly and smoothly. But having the recurring donations of the sponsorship of the animal is key for all organisations, which is why we build in even if you've got, some of the sanctuaries have got like 200 animals. Now you can't build a campaign for 200 animals individually. It just doesn't make sense. But what you can do is you can build sponsor a pig. So you can cut that down to sort of, maybe 8 to 12 different species. So you can then display on the Bertie the pig, who doesn't necessarily have a campaign of his own, but is linked to a species because we know what Bertie is. He's a pig. So therefore, we actually build that sponsor a pig campaign to display on every animal whose species is a pig. So we can actually still capture those sponsorship. All of the different species on every single page. We haven't lost an opportunity where you're looking at an animal profile and there's no sponsorship button. So getting those, even if it's $10 a month, we use the Fundraise Up is a great platform. As I said, one of the things it does is it tries to bump up the actual donations using machine learning and artificial intelligence. So, for example, if I'm here in Australia on a Wednesday morning at 6:46 in the morning, it knows from its database of all the donations across all of its clients how much is the average donation for somebody using a particular browser in Australia at 6:46 on a Wednesday morning. Oh, well, it's $20. Okay, well, I'm going to artificially, when it displays the pop-up, it's going to suggest some other amounts. So instead of a $10 sponsorship, it might suggest a $10 and a 20 and a 25. So it's an opportunity there to get more donations for the organization, doing it through artificial intelligence. And the other thing it does as well, on that sponsorship, is it will actually, if you select you want a once-off donation, it will try and convince you. So say you've made an $80 once-off donation, it will suggest that why don't you turn this into a $30 a month donation. So instead of a once-off 80, it's making it a monthly of 30. And it's trying to switch you over because obviously a $30 a month, once we've done 4 months, we've made more than the 80, right?
Right.
So it lowers the amount, making it easier for the donor to buy into that and essentially switch over and get more money for the organisations to help save more animals. So that's it. Yeah, it's another trick as well with using Fundraise Up.
Sounds great. For sanctuaries working with limited budgets or DIY websites, what are the must-have tips that they should be considering in order to create a more effective site for fundraising?
Great hosting, good hosting, or you monitor your website. So you're not looking at your website all day, so you don't know if it goes down. But when you've got shared hosting and you've got clients that are sort of alongside thousands of other websites on the same server, if one of those other websites gets lots of traffic, it'll starve the other websites of CPU and memory, right? Which means that if requests come to your website, it might not be able to serve those requests and serve those pages, and then your website shows as being offline. So great hosting. Start with that as a foundation. Also use page builders. They make it so much easier for sort of entry level websites. I mean, we use page builders all the time as well. It just makes it easy for organizations who are not necessarily tech savvy to be able to make changes and update things themselves quite easily. We do recommend WordPress. We do see a lot of Wix websites that also works. WordPress allows you to build like that database. It allows you to customize the website more, provide more functionality than just a sort of a Wix sort of more static site. We've seen Squarespace sites do really well as well. So any of those platforms, but yeah, get your hosting right so that you know that your website is up and running all the time. And maintain security as well. If it is a WordPress website, you don't want malware appearing in the website, and make sure you got offsite backups as well.
Those are some great points. Beyond donations, what role does a sanctuary's website play in building the community that support and volunteer around it, all that engagement?
So I think the main thing is that trust. You want to present. We've had clients come to us going, nobody comes to us. Our website's terrible, but that's the face of the organization. People go to it, land on it, and go, oh, right, you got 2 or 3 seconds to make an impression. They wanted to make a good impression. So it's about building that trust to show that you are a legitimate organization, that you are doing these great things for these animals. Um, it's also about building that interface for volunteers. So, they can sign up, come to a particular volunteer session. That provides that front for that. But yeah, mostly I think that it's really that trust and professionalism.
What I'm recognizing and hearing as we're talking, Dave, is that it's not just one and done. You can't build a website and go, okay, that's over. Now what else? Now I'll just be on the social media platforms. This website requires care and feeding as well. And as you pointed out, as technology is ever evolving, there's new tips and tools that if you're not working on it, you're not going to necessarily be relevant and your stuff will go out of date. So I'm wondering, for a company like yourself, I'm sure that you have all sorts of programs from soup to nuts where you could just maybe do a consult all the way to starting all over. And how does that work for you in your company?
Absolutely, Cheryl. So we, as I said, work with a range of organisations from the mum and dad who are they've got full-time jobs, but they've started an animal sanctuary on their property, and they just they're time poor, right? They don't know where to start. We've also come across organisations where the volunteers have built the websites, and then the volunteers have disappeared because they've got other priorities, and that's a recurring theme that we see. So we've built, we provide a range of services. We provide sort of rescue packages. So if your website is stalled, your website project stalled, or it's been abandoned, we can help you out. We've built a range of probably a dozen designs that you could basically plug your content onto, and you've got a website ready to go, and we can turn that around in a few days. More, if you're looking for a larger project, what we do is we pull out a site map and map out all of the different pages of what it is that you're offering. We then go into a design where we actually build out the design for the homepage, sign that off, build out the design for the blog page and the single blog, or the residence and the resident page. So there's probably about half a dozen page designs that we build out. Get feedback on that, iterate on those, and then once we're happy with that, we've got our designs, and then we go away and build it. We build it on the WordPress platform because we know it and it works well. And yeah, and also you don't necessarily have to. We don't need to build your website. We've had clients come to us just for the fundraising, so we can bolt on the actual fundraise up option, donation engines as we call them, to an existing website, which works. We did that with Rescue Paws Thailand. It's a great success. And just one more thing on the sort of the tools and things. I'm actually looking at staying ahead of the curve with AI and seeing how we can leverage that for time poor animal sanctuaries. So I'm actually playing around at the moment with a little bit of a prototype where a sanctuary can upload a photo that they've taken out in the paddocks of a particular animal, make some notes about what it is, and then submit that, and it will generate some content for them so that they can then publish that on their website. Because that's the biggest thing we hear from reaching out to these clients, to say, well, we're time poor. We haven't got enough time to do all of this. So if I can try and compress that, and make it easy, even if we get 80% of the way there with the blog post, and they can tweak it. It's all done in their wording and their style, so it fits in with the rest of the communication from the website. But yeah, staying ahead of the curve, keeping up with technology, it's a challenge for us as well.
Well, there's a lot of good that can come from it, though. It sounds like for those time-strapped people, AI is going to make life a little easier for us so that we can be more effective with the animals, which is where most of the founders want to spend their time.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward, Dave, what excites you the most about the future, and how do you see this helping animal sanctuaries rescue for, their care as well as animals worldwide?
In terms of AI or just generally?
Generally, what's
Generally.
exciting to you? Yeah.
What's exciting to me, I kind of I want to have this vision where I can actually assist every single, animal sanctuary that maybe in Australia, maybe in the world, by providing that, a service, a product, the websites to get more donations, to then help them. Those that going back to the Elephant Aid International. So Carol Buckley knows everything about elephants. She's dedicated her life to it. But she knows nothing, with all respect, to nothing about building websites. But if I can help these organizations help them help animals, then I think, that's the most exciting part for me, is to use technology to raise more money to help more animals.
Just curious, how are things the same in Australia and worldwide, and how are things different, say, compared Australia to the United States? Have you found any similarities and any differences?
I think it's very, very much the same, to be
Okay.
honest. Very much the same. Talking to the locals, Cranky's Farm, Farm Animal Rescue, Peanuts Sanctuary here in Queensland and New South Wales. Very much the same. They're time poor. They're doing their best. They've got some of these people have got full-time jobs. They're coming home and then they're starting again. And then the same story is over in the US as well. For the farmed animal rescue sanctuaries, absolutely. It's pretty much the same.
That people love animals all over the world.
They do. They do.
Well, Dave, this has been a really informative conversation. Please tell us how we can find you so that how our listeners can perhaps avail themselves of your services and how we can help you.
Thank you. So you can find us at sanctuarywebsites.com. That's probably the best place to go.
Okay, very good. Well, this has been Dave Graham, and I am Cheryl Moss. And if you have enjoyed today's conversation, please like and subscribe so that we can create a better life for animals.
Thank you for joining us on the Better Life for Animals podcast. Together, we can create a world where all beings are treated with dignity, respect, and care. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening. It helps us reach more people and spread awareness about the incredible work happening in animal sanctuaries. You can also share this episode with friends and fellow advocates to keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep speaking up, taking action, and making a difference for the animals.